Okay, I'm going to do an unboxing of Warriors of Japan, the long-awaited and much anticipated follow-up of Warriors of God. Here we have the cover. It is the same box size as Warriors of God, same material, although it feels quite a bit lighter. I believe that's because the paper mat has a much thinner stock. It's impossible to lay flat without this plexiglass, so keep that in mind. The cover is a different design, as you can see. In fact, it's a bit controversial because I believe this is an image of Oda Nobukatsu, who was a historical figure about 200 years after when the game takes place. So it's kind of interesting. I can't state on the historicalness of the rest of the game. I know very little about the history. This is kind of my gateway into it, as a lot of war games tend to be. So I'm looking forward to learn, but if that's a problem for you, you might want to make a slipcover or something. Or just ignore it, because if it's anything like Warriors of God, the game in the box is going to be fantastic. We have 1-inch counters, just like in Warriors of God. Very colorful. I love the art, that sort of old Japanese oil painting. They're very similar in their design to Warriors of God. You have their rank, you have their bravery rating, and then you have the number of troops that they can lead efficiently into battle. They are double-sided. Some of them are successors to others. I'm trying to find an example here. But basically, if they die, their successor takes over for them. And what's cool about that is their successor that could then immediately have died in that battle as well. Because you roll for samurai losses when you lose a battle, or when that samurai, gets killed in battle. So it could be a loss, it could be a rout and betrayal, or an immediate betrayal, which reminds me a bit of Hammer of the Scots. The rulebook, glossy, full color. A big step up from Warriors of God in terms of the image quality. This is crystal clear. My copy of the rulebook for Warriors of God is blurry to the point of unreadable, but this is fine and fantastic. 16 pages long. That includes a short biography of each of the different samurai in the game, which is a very cool touch. And even though it's 16 pages, most of that is taken up by extended examples of play. In fact, this is a very simple game. It's much simpler than Warriors of God. Warriors of Japan came out first in Japan, and was developed first. You can kind of tell that Warriors of God is a successor because it builds upon the core of Warriors of Japan. Warriors of Japan is missing a lot of the chrome, I guess you could say, of Warriors of God. There's no special units, you only have samurai, or foot soldiers, or whatever you want to call them. Even though their pictures are different, for the different numeric values, they are the same. Those are just to tell how many are in the stack. But they function exactly the same. So no special units, there's no sieges in this game. So that makes this game a lot simpler to teach and to understand than Warriors of God, which is interesting. It feels like almost, it's half of the rules. I'm not sure. I don't think it'll make it too simple of a game to be fun, but I haven't played it yet. I can't say for sure. But it seems like there's still a lot of depth here, just from sort of looking at the map and the setup and where things could tend to go. But that is something to know going in. If you found Warriors of God too simple, then this will be far too simple. But on the other hand, if you found Warriors of God too complex, this might be for you. Let's take a closer look at the map. The map is gorgeous. I don't know how well you can tell through the video, but looking at it in real life, it is much better than in online images. Let's look at some of the nice touches. There are a possibility of 20 game turns, and I like the coloring. You have green for spring, gold for summer, brown for autumn, blue for winter. And for the victory points here, just like in Warriors of God, there is only one player can have points at a time. And as they go from neutral to in a player's favor, it slowly fades into that player's color, which is pretty cool design choice, I think. If a court ever reaches 10 points, the game is over. Or once it gets to the end of winter 1339, the game is over. If there's a tie at that point, there's a really cool system for a one-on-one samurai duel to decide the fate of Japan. There are a lot of charts on the board. They are helpful for the most part. Victory points awards, how victory points are scored. Samurai loss table, that is rolled every time a samurai dies or is defeated in combat. And a sequence of play, which you'll notice is about half the sequence in Warriors of God. This is the setup table, and it might just be a bit smaller, but I find this to be almost unreadable. And I have pretty good eyes. Just the font choices, and some of these, I'm not sure what these symbols are supposed to represent, but it just kind of makes it difficult to read. Luckily, it's just set up, so you only need to reference it once, and it's in the rule book, so not a big deal. But yeah, this is Warriors of Japan. I'm going to give it a play as soon as I can, and I'll let you know what I think.